Thank you. Thank you. Now, I was insisting because I will need my hands for this session, and actually that's something I would like to ask all of you as well, to put down your pen and paper, because you'll be using your hands as well along with me. So thank you. Some of you have been asking me before, so what's the title of that you are going to talk about? CEO of your health and happiness. How is that going to work? So I would like all of you, whoever has ever considered themselves as CEO of health and happiness, to raise your hand. CEO of health and happiness. Now, who of you believes, so those of you who raised their hand, that you've been doing an incredibly good job managing your own health and happiness and you deserve a salary increase? Very few. Now, it's interesting because we never think of ourselves as the CEO of our own health and happiness, but really, I do a little bit like Alexia did. I start off with the end. And when I launched my latest website, I called it Semplicemente Essere Felice. And those of you who don't speak Italian, it means simply being happy. And it sounds so simple, and it actually is very simple. And we've been laughing about it yesterday at the table because somebody said, well, yeah, because, if something is simple, we don't believe in it. And in fact, I remember the other day somebody came after a conference, a friend of mine, and she said, it was really complicated what they've been talking about. Really, really interesting. And I asked, and what did they say? Oh, well, I didn't understand anything. So what we are doing here is extremely simple because we remember. We don't have to learn anything new. We remember how to use our hands to help ourselves. And when we talk about healing, I am certainly not a healer, but I help others to help themselves. And this is maybe also where I see the relation to what the future company or the future in general could look like, that we learn again how to help ourselves. And you can fit that into any company, you can fit it into any family, because that's another interesting thing. But before I continue talking, I invite you to do the very first exercise together. And I would like you to hold on to your thumb. It doesn't matter, just take left or right hand, and you just hold on to it. You can place your hands again on your knees and just hold on to it. So interestingly, because we have some really high level CEOs here, and I've come from a corporate world as well. And my life has not always been as happy as it is, as you can see nowadays as well from my website, but I actually had a life full of, my last job was director of business development for a large hotel chain, and I've been traveling all of the time. And what I did in order to do something for myself, in order to gain me time, is that I would get up even, at 5 o'clock in the morning to do my practice. So I would try to do yoga, I would try to do meditation, journaling, all of these things. And I was just getting exhausted by doing all of these things. And then all of a sudden, obviously, along with getting exhausted, my back broke down. So I had an accident and I broke some of my vertebrae and I just couldn't move anymore. So that was the moment, of course, we've been talking about it, pivoting moments in our life when I had to change. So I started thinking about how could I actually change my life to become happy and healthy again. And that is when I met an Austrian lady who obviously has become a really good friend of mine, and she told me about that energy healing. And I thought to myself, well, it's going to be just yet another technique or another tool, and I had tried everything. And I just didn't want to learn anything new. And she said, no, it's all very easy. You just hold on to your fingers. And to hold onto your finger, by the way, I would ask you to swap and hold the opposite thumb. Holding on to your fingers is something that obviously you can do everywhere in any moment. You can do that while sitting in a fantastic wind conference. You can do that while you are sitting at dinner, while you are sitting even in a boring meeting. And therefore, it's something that in big corporations, in particular people that are in leading positions, could be using this power of self-healing that we have in our hands. So I started doing this, it's called Jin Shinjutsu. So it's self-healing or energy awareness. It's a journey. And with that, I have to disagree on what somebody else said before, because not every journey has an end. In energy healing, we always say it's a journey without an end. And some people are, when we talk about energy, in particular, because I also sometimes talk in corporations about it, and in particular men may say, you know what, yeah, so energy, but what is it all about? And maybe for women it's easier to understand what energy is, because it's actually what brings us all together. It unites us. Because that's the common source that we all have. We are all made of the same material, whether we are white or black or blonde or dark-haired or tall or small, but we are all made of energy. And that's not something, of course, that I discovered, unfortunately. Einstein said that. He said, you know, everything is energy, and that is all there is. So when I started getting better with my back, not only changed my physical condition, but what changed was my, what we call attitude, the way you live your life. And although I didn't even think of changing that, because of course I was more thinking of my back pain, it came automatically. And that's what happens if you start using the power of your hands. And as I said, it sounds very simple. It sounds maybe too simple, but it will work here. And I would invite you to do this practice. In fact, I would like you to carry on and also take your index finger. But before telling you about the finger, I said earlier on that I would like you to remember, and that it's nothing new that we have to learn. Now, when you took your thumb, did that ring a bell to anybody? Do you remember what you used to do with your thumb a long time ago, or maybe not long time ago? Depending on which quarter we are, second or third. Yeah, we used to suck our thumb when we were born. Well, most of you. Some may have taken another finger, but usually it's the thumb. And the thumb is actually related to our stomach and spleen energy. And we call it in Jin Shinjutsu the lifestyle harmonizer. So now you may ask yourself, why a newborn has to harmonize its lifestyle? What do they have to digest other than the mother's milk? But if you think about it, and for a newborn, everything is new. Everything they see, everything they smell, all impressions during the day are new for a baby. And that's why they tend to have stomach problems, no? Most of them cry because they didn't digest properly. And that's why they suck their thumb, because they know per intuition that this is what they have to do. So now, I don't want you to start again sucking your thumb, but I would like you to remember that whenever you have to digest a lot, that may be after physical food, so it may be right after lunch, which will be in a minute, but it may also be at the end of a conference like here, where even though we've been listening to lots of interesting things, we have to digest it, everything. So whenever you feel tired, whenever you feel that your head is about to explode, you just hold on to your thumb. And more than anything else, you do that in the evening when you go to bed. So if you can't fall asleep because you still have lots of things passing on by your head, then you hold on to your thumb. If you want to, you can also suck your thumb. I won't be telling you anybody, I won't tell anybody about it, but I usually prefer taking my thumb. So really, it's all very simple. And when I chose the title of the site, semplicemente being felice, so simply be happy, it's in our own hands. And what we have is help in our own hands. And what I do is I help others to help themselves. And as we are all sitting here together, most of us are women, only very few men. I mentioned that in the beginning. Whenever you sit together with even CEOs of companies, if it's female, at some point, necessarily, they will start talking about the family as well. And we had a few talks with some of the ladies here that were talking about their family at some point, because of course, that's what we also have to manage. We never only manage the job, but we are CEO, not only of our own happiness and harmony or wellness, but also of our family. And that's the second opportunity that we have. This self-help is something that we don't only do on ourselves, but we can teach it to our children. And if they learn it at the age of 3 or 4, then it's something that they will do all of their life. And they definitely won't get sick, and they will always be happy. And this is just very last story, because I noticed that I've run out of time. But I remember a very good friend of mine. She had the son was 5 years old, I believe, and he was always feeling sick before he was interrogated at school. So she said, you know, it's always the same. In the evening, he says he has a stomach ache, and then he doesn't want to go to school. And I told her, well, tell him, you know, to hold on to his thumb. And so she did. So on that particular day, again in the evening, he said, well, I'm not feeling well, you know, I don't want to go tomorrow. And she said, well, she insisted, and she said, you know, hold on to your thumb, but I want you to go. So he went to school the other day, and at the end of the session that they did, all of the kids had to lay down on the floor, you know, like in a star form, and they took a photo of it. And all of the kids, boys, 5, 6 years old, they were all laying down like this, and he was the only one who would still hold on to his thumb. So I could continue for ages talking about it, but I think it's about to digest the real food. So I thank you for your interest and for your attention, and keep on holding on to your thumb. Thank you.